Hey everybody, welcome to Craft Nicks. I'm Nick, tabletop hobby spot crafting everything from terrain to the game. And in this video, I'm gonna craft some dungeon rooms, not dungeon tiles. We're going for bigger room sets. And for me, this is gonna be easier to kind of gameplay as the session goes on. You're really just putting stuff on these grand boards. So what did I start with? I started with 3 pieces of 12 by 12 chipboard. The idea here was that if I went with 4 pieces, I would be covering 2 foot by 2 foot sections. And that's great for wargaming skirmishes, more skirmishes. But I'm not sure how that's going to fit in the RPG because dungeons are more elongated. They have different shapes. There's empty space, negative space. So I started with 3 and I can always expand. This is where it becomes really simple. So I start off with these and then I cut the following dimensions. So I have one 12 by 12 piece, I have one 12 by 6 piece, 4 6 by 6s, 2 6 by 3s, and 4 3 by 3s. And really the anything at the 3 is gonna be either for doors or just coves, spaces, and stuff like that. And again, towards the end of the video, I'm gonna go ahead and just give a quick demonstration and then hopefully build on these concepts. For the foam core, I stuck to dimensions of 3/4. 2 3/4 will equal 1/2. 2 1/2 is your dimensions of 3. I basically cut out 3 shapes. I cut out one 3/4 by 3/4 square. I cut out one 3/4 by 1.5 long rectangle, and then a 1.5 by 1.5 square. And from there, I was able to lay down patterns as I saw fit. All right, so with everything cut out, I moved on to the hot glue. Now, I chose the hot glue for a reason, which I mess up later, but that's part of crafting, right? Anyway, I went with the hot glue because one, it's instantaneous and it locks in, and once it's done, it's done. I don't have to wait for drying time. The second part is that it's not gonna warp the chipboard, right? So your hot glue doesn't evaporate water like all your other adhesives or most of your other adhesives, really. So that's why I ultimately chose the hot glue. Now, I go ahead and mess this up later, thinking that I'm solving one problem, but ultimately killing this basic, what's the word? Anyway, let's move on. So from there, I started to bevel out the lines. To me, this was easier. I had a nice design, not a grid, but I don't really use the grid. I use measurement sticks. So after beveling lines, I said, you know what, let me get a bit artistic here. So I started etching out some crack lines, and for me, I like the longer crack lines that span through multiple tiles. So that was my aim for the whole thing. Now, what I used for it was real simple. I either used a mechanical pencil or just a regular pencil sharpened, and I just drew out my line slowly and then started kind of crushing into the etched lines. Now, there's some spots where I went too deep, but ultimately when you put them all together, you're not gonna really see those imperfections. And also, the deeper the mark, the better you have to do in getting that black base into those crevices. So those were the mistakes that I made. And otherwise, I just tried to form that foam into little markings and etchings that I liked. So it's important to note that this started to begin the reason why I ultimately kind of messed it up at the end, because my etchings created loose foam pieces that got trapped in there or kind of broken away. So I was looking for a way to kind of lock it in. And what did I come up with, right? The old fashioned, decade old Mod Podge and black paint. So I started mixing it together, but you guys already predict what's gonna happen, right? You already know. The thing that I tried to avoid with the hot glue is the thing I ended up messing up with the Mod Podge, trying to solve a different problem, trying to lock in with an adhesive, because Mod Podge is an adhesive, lock in those particles that were loose and kind of get them stiff so that they don't break off completely at some point during the lifespan. So I ended up locking it in, but it warped the piece. So then I had to go with the old fashioned, right? just on the underside and marking it, I'm sorry, not marking it, and spreading the Mod Podge down. So I ended up doing the thing that I was trying to avoid anyway. Either way, they got done. Is make sure you have a nice coat on the bottom that's even so that it pulls. And all right, so after I did the black coat, I kind of tried to put all that black in there and then fix the Mod Podge and everything. I went ahead and with my triad of colors, so I went with a dark gray, the infamous pewter gray, and then a lighter gray. Mixed them all onto a plate with the sponge and then just started dabbing. And when they dry, when I came back when they dried, I was not too happy. I thought maybe they were like too bright still, right? So then I went ahead with a wash that I had made long ago. It's an old wash. I have detergent in there, dish soap, I have water, most of it is water, black paint, and then I put in some blues and greens in there to kind of like give the appearance of a mossy, wet dungeon type, you know, gloomy, I guess, but earthy. It didn't matter because it really, to me, doesn't really show through. The black really overpowers everything. That was the formula, real simple, and I just shook it up and stuff like that. And that's it, guys. The last thing to point out is just make sure you get the edging. I'm gonna keep mine black. I kind of I kind of like it. So just having the top as the color, and I'm gonna keep it. While I do some different designs for rooms and different layouts and stuff and playing with it, I'm just gonna take the time to thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to continue doing crafting terrain, to crafting world building, to all that stuff, to skirmish and stuff like that, I've got a small backlog of videos, and this is what I'm just going to keep doing moving forward until calling comes for something else and something new. Thank you to my patrons who've shown love and support. I love having the Saturday check-ins where I get to kind of like talk to you guys. So that's really cool. I look forward to those Saturday mornings when I have something to put there, right? You know, sometimes it takes 2 weeks, and I'm a small channel, small guy, right? So it's a one-man band show. So I just have to do it all, and I try to do it, and I chipping away at it. So, and just keep consistent without sacrificing all of the important stuff in my life. Because again, this is a hobby, we do it for fun, so it should always be fun to do it. So if you are considering showing support, you know all the algorithm stuff for YouTube, if there's even an algorithm anymore, might be even a forbidden word now. Not sure, but you know all that support. If you want to check in on the Patreon, more than glad to have you there. Again, I do some side stuff that I don't post anywhere but there, so it's just more me. It's just me talking about my journey through the hobby week by week. One last thing to mention, I also have templates in building sci-fi buildings that are stackable, interchangeable, and kind of lock in. So if you're interested in that for your skirmish games, just make sure you check the links below. They're there, and the templates are completely free. And if you feel like, hey, you know, Craftniks got some things, I'll throw them $1 or $2 for some coffee or some glue sticks or whatever it is, man. The love and support is welcomed, and they will help me to just keep getting materials and stuff like that. And that's what I'm using it for. Hopefully it kind of grows, and maybe I could get a camera and maybe a boom mic and stuff like that. So I had to shout out this. I just got this nice apron here from my boys for my birthday a couple months back. So that was really cool, man. So thank you guys. I really, really appreciate it, guys. And I love this thing, man. I love it. So that's just for my boys right there. So signing out, Craftniks. Let me leave you with that thought. And I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Peace.